Hi everyone, it's Dr. Rob. I promised that I would review a poster as a sample and give you some feedback. So I'm happy Adara sent me her poster and said that that she was open to some feedback. So I'm going to go through here and share with you some feedback. Okay, so this is what the poster looks like right from the beginning. So the first thing I'd look at is great. It's got color. She's made it her own. Didn't just use the template, but kind of made some individual things in terms of color and choice. I think that the title is good, the name and credentials, the location is good. Logo is up here in the corner, that's appropriate. Here is the graphic. Now, the topic of the poster is about catheter infections. So the one thing that I'll share with you though, with regard to feedback for graphics, when you're choosing a graphic or a photo, the question to always ask yourself is it value adding? Does it add value? So if you consider the space that you have to create your poster, okay, essentially this is the space that you have. Consider it real estate. Every square inch is important because it costs money, right? It's very valuable. So you have to ask, if you're going to put a graphic there, is it value adding? Does it add anything, or is it simply just there to take up space? So my comment with this is, I'm not sure that everybody would really know 100% what CAUTI is. First of all, I did look at this, and I don't think that it's abbreviated, that it's spelled out. So that's one note, is that, again, you really need to spell out your abbreviations one time so that people know what CAUTI is. Secondly, though, a graphic that just says stop CAUTI, again, it doesn't really give the reader, even if you're just passing through, it doesn't really tell them what it is. Perhaps I might have a picture of a Foley catheter up here, because that then would say, oh, this is about catheterization. It's about a Foley catheter. That's what that looks like. So I would kind of say that I don't think that's value adding. I don't know that it adds any value. Now I'm going to make it larger so that we can go through and look at it a little bit more in depth. I think that it's organized well because it starts from the right, it goes down, it comes back up to the middle column, it goes down, and then over to the right-sided column. So it reads left to right, and I think that's appropriate. Now, if you take a look, I think that this sample came from probably what's hanging in the hallway. If you take a look at your instructions on the site, you'll notice that there is no abstract and there is no introduction in the poster. The first topic, or the first header, is really your significance. So, good thing I took a look at this for you, because you want to take away the abstract and the introduction. In a poster setting, you really need to just kind of cut to the chase, get to the facts immediately. There's no time or space. We don't have 10 pages to write about. So the key, again, the key to putting a good poster together is really to concentrate on the facts of the matter. And so we kind of delete the abstract and delete the introduction. And that is a change that has happened over the last semester or two. So some of the samples that are up in the hallway, you may see an abstract and an introduction, but take note to your instructions, and I'll show you where they are actually. Let me see if I can pull it up really quickly. If you take a look right here, under the instructions, it tells you here are the required format: title, presenter's name and credentials, affiliation, logo, and the body of the poster is to include significance, the question, the literature search, the synthesis of evidence, the recommendations, and the conclusion. Okay, so again, no implementation, if you notice, in this poster, and then the references. Okay, so let's go back here. So we're going to take away the introduction and the abstract and start with the significance. Now, it's appropriately cited, okay? It needs to be cited, and it's appropriately in bullet format, so that's excellent. Probably my comment would be to reduce some of the words. Again, these are pretty much written in full sentences, so they're full sentences that are bulleted. So that's halfway to where we want to be. They're not just full sentences, they are bulleted, but they're actually full sentences that are bulleted. So what I would say is make these phrases, they don't all have to be phrases, but things like this suggests that the problem lies within. I would find a way to just put problem is in education of healthcare. period. Actually, you don't even need a period there. But another recent study showed I would take that away. Take away every single word that you possibly can. Okay, if you can say it in 10 instead of 20, you need to say it in 10, and if you can say it in 5, even better. Now, the other component, so that looks great, and I think the significance is important, and good job. The search process, I would say, a little less wordy and a little more factual. So, oh wait, one other thing I wanted to make note of. Okay, here, I'm looking at my notes up here. In this section, there's a font change. Okay, I can see here there's a font change with this Girard et al. It looks like it's a different font as opposed to the ones that are up here. This is Calibri and this is Tribeca. So make sure that all your fonts are appropriate. Things like 2 can be the numeral 2. Things like 8 can be the numeral 8. Again, not necessarily APA rules, but if this takes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters, whereas if you just use the numeral 8, it would be 1 character. That's what we're looking for in a poster. Let's see. Again, with regard to the process of the literature search, I'm really looking for the facts, specifically the facts. So tell me how you went from a large number of studies down to 3. Okay, that's really what I want to see. But I do keep in, you have the search engines, which is appropriate. You've got your keywords, but this part here, the campus librarian also utilized and conducted research, take that away. We don't need to know that. It's just the facts. So just the keywords, the number of articles, perhaps the limiters that you used, English language, the years that you put in, and the final results. That's what goes in the process of the literature search. Okay, with regard to clinical question, I may put next to that, I might suggest putting parenthesis PICO for people who understand what a PICO question is. Synthesis of the evidence, this looks fine. It looks a little bit small, but I think it's okay. 20 font is probably appropriate. I would say again, in here, there's a couple of places like right here, 6. You could change that over to the number 6. Okay, that would be appropriate. Everything else looks good. Know that some people, depending on how their synthesis table is laid out, some people find it valuable to switch these headers, like change the Y and the X axis. So instead of putting your 3 studies down this axis, they'll actually put these items down this axis and put the 3 studies, study 1, study 2, and study 3, going horizontal. There's no right or wrong. It really depends upon your table and what it looks like. The thing that we're most concerned about here is space, white space. You want to try to reduce. This is white space. It's space that has no characters in it, no words. Here's a lot of white space here, and here's a lot of white space. So again, if you can adjust your column width, I'm just going to play with this here. If you can adjust your column width to like that to try to limit your white space, that's significant. And that's why some students have chosen to flip the axis of their table, because it just seems to work out best. Now I played with this and I moved this around and it messed it up. But anyway, so that's the goal. I think it kind of shows you the goal, trying to reduce this white space that's here. All right, let's see. Coming over to the far side as we move up here, obviously you can see this is just an error. I'm sure that will be fixed. Again, my comment here would be I would recommend, if you're using your recommendations, you should always start with a verb. Okay, the action verb, a recommendation is action oriented. So train and educate healthcare team on whatever. Evaluate patients' experiences. Let's see. Patients at risk for urinary may benefit from. So maybe utilize indwelling urinary catheter for patients at risk for urinary retention. Avoid unnecessary catheterization. I just feel like it has a stronger message when you're saying, what do I recommend, or what does the evidence recommend? It recommends to train, to educate, to evaluate, to utilize, and to avoid. Okay, and I think that will also help you to reduce some of the words. Remember, the goal here is to make put as few words as possible onto this real estate to make every single word important. So if you keep that message in the back of your head when you're putting this together, I think it will really guide you in terms of what goes on here and what doesn't. And then lastly, I would say references can go down into a smaller font yet. Now they are, let's see, this is a 28 font and this is a 25. It can go even smaller. You can go down into the teens for your references. It does not have to be viewed at like a, it doesn't have to be viewed at the same size as the other. Like actually you've got the synthesis table is actually a 20, the references are 25. I would say your references should be the lowest font, the smallest font. Now, I didn't see that you cited near house in this poster. Remember, the references only need to be for the things that are cited on the poster, not necessarily cited in your paper. Okay, only the references that are cited on your poster. So for example, if you had some references over here in your introduction, right, that you didn't use anywhere else, they would not need to be cited in your reference list. The references do have to include your photographs, so this is appropriate. How to do digital image, that's appropriate. Okay, so I think that is about all. Oh, I did pick up a typo right here, spelling error. So I think that, I think that Adar, you did really well. I think it looks great. It's a great start. A couple of comments to help you out. Again, when you look at it overall, you can really see these areas of white space that you want to try to work on. I hope that was helpful. And if you have any other questions or comments, just let me know. Okay, I hope you have a great day.